Well, there are two things, different things actually. One is the impact of consumerism on our mutual relationships, to our partners, to our neighbors, to our friends, to near and dear, as they say. They tend to be commercialized today. That's a problem. That's a very, very heavy problem, which I don't quite see the way out from. The commercialization of human relations means that you need to mediate your relationship to others through shops, by gifts, for example. Parents are more and more obliged, feel responsible for enabling their children to enter the adult world or the world of their mates. And in order to enter it, they have to meet certain standards. They have to have the latest mobile telephones, not the mobile telephones from the last year, but all the new gadgets which their colleagues have. They need to have the latest fashion of the sneakers and so on and so on. It costs money, of course, which makes parents to work hard in order to earn money to supply their children with what they need. But the more they work, the more hours they spend on their laptops and working for the company, which pays their upkeep, the more they have guilty conscience that they don't spend time with their children. And they should have, talked to them and ask about their problems and help them with homework and so on, but they don't have time. Therefore, they want to compensate for that by giving them even more opulent gifts. Christmas, which used to be a family and religious reunion, now is mostly a commercial event. There's a competition in the kind of gifts you offer to your children for Christmas. And so they have to work even more and more hours to spend in outside home. So it's a sort of a vicious circle. You can't cut it. The commercialization of interpersonal relations is self-propelling, self-promoting, self-reinforcing. That's one big problem of contemporary ethics. You probably remember that 20 years ago when I worked on postmodern ethics, I had hopes. I had hopes that the new individualization and the crumbling of old authorities, establishments, and so on will confront each of us, you and me, everybody else, with the personal responsibility for the other. Ethics will be translated from conformity to the rule into personal responsibility, which is underdetermined. You have to yourself, I repeat, on your own responsibility to put flesh in this framework of relationship being for the other there. So I thought that the postmodern changes in society, which I now am inclined to call liquefaction of modernity, will be a double-edged upheaval. On the one hand, there's a big threat that we are crumbling into individuals, fragmented, separated. On the other hand, that's a great chance. So threat and chance in one. The chance is, I repeat, confronting my responsibility for the other. It is upon me to secure your welfare, your dignity, your identity, your, just being a unique person as you are. But now I'm afraid the consumerism, which is different from consumption. Consumption is a very banal thing. We all have to consume in order to live. But consumerism is something more than that. Consumerism means transplanting the frames, the patterns which are established in your relation to commodity upon your relation to other human beings. Now, other human beings are not commodities. But if you apply to them standards of commodities, namely, if not fully satisfying, just throw them away and start from scratch, go to shop, buy something new. Now, if that happens, that's really a very big threat to ethics, particularly because of this commercialization of relations, which I mentioned. That you think that you perform your moral duty to others, providing that you lavish them with expensive gifts. But it is not really what does it mean. I was shocked a few weeks ago when one of the addicts of Facebook told me that he made in one day 500 friends. I was shocked because I lived 85 years and I haven't made 500 friends in all my life, and he did. So I understood that when he speaks about friends and I speak about friends, we mean something very different. And his idea of friends is already the idea of somebody reprocessed by all these market-oriented values. That's one thing. And the other thing about ethics in contemporary times is, I think, not less serious and also very, very difficult to resolve. I repeat after Antonio Gramsci, he spoke about interregnum, in which we are now. He defined interregnum as the situation, a transitory situation, in which the old established ways of life do not work any longer, but the new ones haven't been born yet. We are in such a situation. I believe that I won't see the end of interregnum because I'm a very old man, but all the people around, most people around me who are much, much younger, they will probably need in this century to find the way out of this interregnum and allow the new to be born. Now, what about this new? What's going to be like? I am not a prophet, I can't describe the shape of the new way of cohabitation between human beings, but I am sure of one thing, that what has to be done is closing the gap between agency and the task. That is the most dangerous gap of all gaps which exist in contemporary way of life. What I mean is that it all started from divorce between politics and power. Power evaporated from nation state, even the biggest nation state, not only Italy, but United States of America, for example, evaporated into the global space, into the space which Manuel Castells calls space of flows. While politics remained where it was before, at the level of nation state. It didn't move. We don't have global politics. We have sometimes international politics, which means, in fact, intergovernmental politics. But we don't have global politics. We don't have, at the global level, equivalent of the institutions which our ancestors, our fathers, our grandfathers developed for the nation state, like political representation, like expression of will in the public, the way of coming to agreement, which are also institutionalized, the juridical system, which set the standards of justice and takes care of order. We don't have equivalence of that at the global level. While our interdependency is already global. The chances of employment for people living in Milan, for example, depend on what's going on in Kuala Lumpur. Something happens there and they immediately feel the outcomes of it. So dependency is already covering the whole of humanity, but the politics is confined to little enclaves, to what we call nation state. Sovereignty ends at the level of nation state. So there is discrepancy, there is a gap between the grandiosity of the tasks which confront us and the meagerness of the means with which we can try to resolve, to implement these tasks. And that's another challenge which confronts us for the 21st century. Politics has to catch up with power, which is running away. Because unless that is done, then we will have, as we have now, on the one hand, power which is not politically constrained and not politically controlled, which can do whatever it likes, taking us constantly by surprise and creating all sorts of catastrophes, like, for example, the credit collapse and things like that. And on the other hand, we have politics without power. So however hard the governments of a country try, they can't resolve the problems which confront their population, because these problems are global. And their reach of action is not global. When I was young, the major problem which confronted people and they were worried about, philosophers were worried about, was the question, what is to be done? Today, the major question is not what is to be done, because more or less we all agree what is to be done, but the big question today, without answer, is who is going to do it? Because there are no agencies powerful enough to measure up to the size of the issue.